Good morning, Cowboy Jim, Fort McMurray up here in the frozen north that's thawing and getting warmer, and that's a good thing. And just kind of getting back into the groove here a little bit and just trying to. Well, I actually had thought, I had thought that I would like to have done 500 videos in the first year. And May 9th, last year, was the first time that I posted a video that was called The Black Haired Warrior Woman. And I have since taken it down. I've edited it a little, and I tried to. I had been chewing too many testosterone when I wrote that fictional story, and it is a fictional story, but it is premised on a lady that I had the privilege and the honor of meeting, and so I did this video back in the early '60s and that sort of thing, and set down by High River. And so I am going to try to do my very best to find some way of moving it around on my laptop and getting it posted again. And instead of an hour-long video, I cut it into two parts and that sort of thing. So, hey, um, today, I really think, well, you can't tell from that. Yes, it is Saturday. And and I have had my first cup of coffee out on the back stoop and no bear running around, and that's kind of nice. And you can always tell when there's a bear in the neighborhood. They become habituated, and you can tell because the dogs up and down the street they start to make a lot of noise when a marauding black bear gets a little close to them. Uh, Given that dogs are better cared for than children nowadays, it seems. But anyways, so in my little endeavor, I was trying to denigrate, as I always do, humiliate if possible, but um, the politicians in the world who use and abuse people. And YouTube, I mean, mention anything about COVID, and you'll have a little note um, that says check with Canada Health and so on to get correct information on. Anyways, um, needless to say, I have heard all that can be said about COVID because I studied it. I studied everything that I could, premised on science. I'm particularly entertained with the whole idea of physical fitness um, and the impropriety of eating too much and thus curtailing the longevity that you'd otherwise be walking in. And so I pay attention, and I pay attention to, as I said, science. Back in the early '80s, the scientists they weren't divided at all. Not as they are nowadays. Scientists will take and look at the same problem and come up with two different solutions nowadays. But back in the '80s, when the scientists said we are about to enter into a new ice age, people believed them. Well, back then, we almost were convinced that if a politician said something, that it might be well advised that you'd pay attention to it. But nowadays, we have come to the realization that when a politician says thus and so, just turn, go in the exact opposite direction, and there's a 50-50 chance you'll be right. There is. Um, Many people are appalled at how a politician can barely squeak through, uh, barely have enough money to get elected. And children, it takes money to get elected, okay? And but the thing that is amazing to me is you take some useless piece of human flesh. mm, well, let's pick one. Well, let's just pick any politician. Uh, well, there are a few good politicians around, and they're not all in the same party. Okay, um, but you can reject most of everything they say. But you take a politician, and he or she has been in office, uh, may or may not have attended, may or may not have been able to take time out of their leisurely uh, seeking fulfillment in their lives and actually went to represent the people for a while. And and you wonder, as I wonder, how in the world did such a useless person who evidently never worked a day in their lives become so filthy rich? Well, baby formula. You say, what? Baby formula. Um, when a politician hears about a whistleblower who is going to uh, speak openly about the impropriety of a company down in the States, I can't quite remember the name, something, and and for 5 months, that company quit making baby formula. Now, now anyone with a brain, well, that excludes most politicians, would realize, hey, 40% of the baby formula will no longer be available. Well, is there anything wrong with searching out some other place in the world that makes baby formula and makes it well, and seek them to step into the gap, the break in the wall, as it were, and supply parents with food for their children? Well, if you're a corrupt politician, what you'll do when you hear about the horror associated with a formula, baby food, baby milk company, factory being shut down. Well, as geez, I despise politicians. But as a politician who is useless, you go and you buy stock in the remaining factories that produce baby formula. Why do you do that? Well, because of a shortage of baby formula, you have an opportunity to double, triple your money or more, much more, in actual fact. One can of what we used to call Infilect, baby formula, is worth an amazing amount of money, uh, but absolutely necessary for the children who are reliant upon it. Not all women can breastfeed, and given the inequity of our financial situation throughout the world, not every lady can take the time to breastfeed. Okay? They can't. They have responsibilities to their family. And there are a lot of women who raise their own children. They decide against abortion, and they choose, as Justin Bieber's mother did when she was 17, kind of addicted to drugs, and she got pregnant, and she decided that she was going to give that kid that she was carrying, that baby that she was carrying, she was going to give that baby a chance at life. And she did. And that's who Justin Bieber is. His mama at 17 chose to birth him. I happen to think that's really good. And I think we all should really think of that. But anyways, so let's just set the baby formula aside in the States. Let's realize that people like Joe Biden are corrupt beyond measure. Politicians on either side of the aisle down there can very well be corrupt, without question. And their motivation is a pretense, hey, we'll take care of the people. I am Irish, and the words that just about got out past my lips, I'm kind of glad I held them back. But let's talk about Justin Trudeau. Let's talk about the price of bloody fuel. Let's talk about why Putin controls our fuel prices, why Iran controls our fuel prices, Venezuela, our fuel prices, when we as Canadians sit probably on one of the world's largest sources of oil, ergo fuel. And our fuel is as expensive as it is. Why? The companies that I have worked for in the North, good companies, good people, and their intent was to make $1. And you make $1 by generating a product that is capable of being purchased around the world. But Justin Trudeau, that fatherless child, there's a word for that, that fatherless child has done everything in his power as Joe Biden down in the States to further their agenda at the cost of the people who want just to make a bloody living. Can you imagine? I mean, Justin Trudeau was taken to task by Christine Anderson, EU, and she just chewed him out and said, you have no right to even speak to us because of how you treated the Canadian Freedom Convoy truckers. And he did not. But you let a politician write his own paycheck and his own standards of behavior, which are corrupt. And you watch what Joe Biden has done to further electric Green New Deal crap, rather than turning loose. I mean, they had a great lease sale. Well, that's just PR. Because before the sale in the States, before the companies had a chance to bid on leases that they could then have explored, which is kind of difficult because the U.S. government, they'll sell leases so that it looks like they're doing something, but in essence, they're really doing nothing because they won't give permits for people in the oil industry to get the bloody oil, not only just out of the ground, but across the top. where it could be marketed. Joe Manchin apparently came up here and interviewed Jason Kenney about the Keystone pipeline. Just to understand, more politicians should come to Fort Mac, eh? I mean, we are doing something up here. Justin Trudeau, he should never come to Fort Mac. He shouldn't. He does not deserve to have anything to do with us because we're normal people trying to eke out a living while that bastard pretends that Putin's oil embargo of some of the European countries should cause our oil to go sky high. Well, that's processed hay out the tail end of a horse, children. You listen to a politician, well, don't eat before you do, because you'll be throwing up. It's just disgusting. We here in Fort Mac, we are in the process of trying to save the land from the world's greatest known natural oil spill. When the riverbanks warm up here, oil pours right out of the sandy river banks right into the river. And our companies are doing everything in their power to make a buck. Don't kid yourself. But they're also doing everything in their power to make correct right the inequity of nature. And that's what it is. So you Canadians and all my American friends down at Coots, when I was at Coots, we went over to the little town and we stood at a chain link fence. It was just a chain, plastic. And we talked to our American neighbors, the other part of Coots. And I mean, you could just reach your little foot over under that chain and you were in the United States of America. And we had a commonality. We were protesting the inequity of a politician, a godforsaken piece of human dung, forcing his vaunted opinion on us, on freedom loving, freedom living Canadian and American people. Oh, my prayer is that God will one day judge those who for $1 sold their people down the river. I really do. Because I hold most politicians in contempt. But I think that if there were more men and women who had balls, that we would have a better political situation than we do. Well, I think I'm running out of time. Well, I hope that was a spirited little diatribe and premised on truth, not presumption. And I hope you have a good day. And I'm going to go out and sit on the back stoop and I'm going to listen to what I said. Hope that it was kind of polite. You think we should be paying $2 a liter for diesel? Well, then you bloody just keep on voting liberal. Down in the States, you vote Democrat, same thing. I happen to choose freedom, okay? A free marketplace, the opportunity for men and women to stand up, who can stand up for what is right. That's where I'm at. Anyways, baby formula, people holding little moms with babies in ransom for food, or our truckers Geez, my old 01 Dodge Cummins, she does not run cheap down the highway, let me tell you. Okay, God bless. Got to shut this off before 20. God bless you.